Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unboxed. So glad that you chose to join us today. Over the past several broadcasts, I have been discussing the difference between challenge leaders and survival leaders. I recognize that a lot of what we share at Unboxed could lead someone to think that we're perhaps encouraging selfishness. Well, anyway, today we're going to unbox the difference between a selfish leader and a leader that focuses on self, because it sounds so similar. A selfish leader and a leader that focuses on self. And in our world today, I think this is something we really need to clear up. So stick around while we unbox this. I'm Dr. Robert Davis, family life educator and relationship coach. And welcome to Unboxed, a frank and straightforward conversation about relationships. We're going to talk about family, church, workplace, and all other types of relationships. Join me for the next few moments as we unbox the power and potential of relationships and help you to live your best life. Hey everyone, so thank you again for joining us. Before we get started on this beautiful journey, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. That's right, like, subscribe, and share. And if you are listening to our podcast on one of the many outlets that our podcast is broadcasted, make sure that you visit our website. The website is www.swg-unboxed.org. That's right, swg-unboxed.org, where you can find out about all the wonderful services that we provide, as well as the awesome things that we're doing to improve our local community. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this thing real quick here. We're talking about focusing on self versus being selfish. And is there a difference? And what does that difference look like? I want to put a quote up on the screen right now. And this is, I apologize, I can't remember what book I got this from, and I should have quoted that. So please forgive me, whoever the author is. I've been reading so much, and it just caught my attention. I forgot the author of the book. Here it is. We assume that a focus on self will lead to self-absorption, arrogance, egotism, and indifference towards others. Murray Bowen contended the opposite. A focus on self will automatically, get this now, a focus on self will automatically place a focus on others. To value self, to believe in one's abilities, and to be responsible for one's own functioning carries over in response to others. Wow, that is profound. So profound that we're going to come back to it at the end of today's broadcast. So, how to avoid being a selfish leader? We espouse here at Unboxed that emotional mature leaders are the opposite of selfish leaders. I want you to get this. We believe at Unboxed that emotionally mature leaders are the opposite of selfish leaders. We believe that emotionally mature leaders focus on self, but they're not selfish. And allow me to describe both sets of leaders, and I think it's really going to make the picture clear. Selfish leaders have three main characteristics, okay? Number one, selfish leaders look for quick fixes rather than to stand on principles and to address long-term issues. Because again, a selfish leader is thinking about what's in it for me. How does this benefit me? So I want to make sure that I don't have to deal with this foolishness for too long. Let me come up with a quick fix solution rather than to stand on principles and to address long-term issues. A second identifier of a selfish leader, and there's many of them, but I want to kind of give you some really core ones that builds off of what we've been talking about. The second thing is selfish leaders try to figure out what they can get from relationships and what they can get from the organization. They are users. So relationships are not the end. Relationships are a means towards an end. And I want to say this, a lot of us get caught up in this game, of handshaking, back patting, glad handing, and all that stuff for the purpose of figuring out how can I, what's my angle on this person? How can I use this person to get what I'm trying to get? And that's not what a self-focused leader do. That is a selfish leader. Number three, selfish leaders adjust their principles and values based on what is most advantageous for their personal interests. That's right. And again, the focus, if you look at those three things, the main focus of a selfish leader is what's in it for me? How do I make my life easy? How do I, advance myself? How do I get what is most advantageous for me? That is what selfish leaders do. But I want you to think on the flip side of a self self-focused leader. And I'm going to define a little bit more what a self-focused leader in just a second. But on the flip side, a self-focused leader, in honesty, is just the opposite. So number one, a self-focused leader are willing to do the hard work of implementing unpopular solutions, even if they don't get the credit or may not be around long enough to enjoy the success. So they say, you know what? It's not about me. So I'm going to do what is right rather than to do what makes me look good. Are you getting the difference now? Because I am focused on me and what I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to function. Number two, self-focused leaders think through how they're functioning in relationships and how they can foster stronger relationships for the development of the organization. So how can I develop stronger relationships so that this organization can be stronger? How am I showing up in these relationships? How am I functioning? How am I either minimizing anxiety or spreading anxiety? I'm focusing on me and what it is that I'm doing and how I'm governing myself. That's where the energy is. Number three, self-focused leaders have well thought out principles and are willing to follow through even at personal loss. That's right. Self-focused leaders have a set of principles. And because those principles are well thought out, because those principles are the core of who they are, the core of what they believe, then you know what? Even if it means that I have to suffer as a result of it, I'm going to follow it through regardless. It's kind of like, if you don't, if somebody told a doctor, hey, listen, if you don't prescribe this particular treatment for your patient, even though we all know that's going to hurt the patient, then you're going to lose your license. And the doctor says, you know what, take my license away from me. My patient, my care, my integrity, my honor is more important. I'll go ahead and lose my medical license because I want to do what is right. Hopefully, no, doctor will be in that position. But I wanted to give that kind of an illustration of what a self-focused leader. I have to do what is right because I have to be principled and guided by morals and direction. So that's what a self-focus. I want to go back to that quote that I put up again, and as we bring this thing to a close. And here it goes, very simple. We assume that a focus on self will lead to self-absorption, arrogance, egotism, and indifference toward others. Murray Bowen contended the opposite. A focus on self will automatically place a focus on others. To value self, to believe in one's abilities, and to be responsible for one's own functioning carries over in response to others. It's counterintuitive, but a self-focused leader is always aware of their responsibility to other people. A self-focused leader. Remember, I talked to you before. Who am I responsible to? What am I responsible for? A self-focused leader says, I'm responsible to these people. Let me make sure that I show up in the right way. I'm responsible to this organization. Let me make sure that I am being ethical and honest with the way that I manage their time and everything else. This is a self-focused leader. So, as I conclude, a self-focused leader recognizes that he or she can only control themselves. That's what the self-focus is. I have to control self. I have to master self. I have to bring self under discipline. I beat myself and I bring it under discipline. That's what Paul says about his life. And that's what a mature leader does. He looks and focuses on self. They're focused on their action, their reactions, and their responses. Self-focused leaders put significant energy in making sure they are the best selves in all relationships and in every situation. And this is the focus of UnBoxed one-to-one coaching, our leadership training, our curriculum, our leaders, peer support groups, and all the services that we provide here at UnBoxed. We want to help high-level leaders become self-focused leaders, authentic self-focused leaders who create strong, healthy cultures within their organizations because they say, what is my role? What is my responsibility? What is my part? How am I showing up? How am I following through? How am I making the best decisions? I can't control everybody else, but I'm going to make sure that I control what I do, who I am, and how I function. And that is how you unbox the power and the potential of your leadership. And that is how you unbox the power and the potential of every relationship. I'll see you next time.
Seasoned with Grace, Unboxed also provides healthy relationship training and leadership development for businesses, churches, and community organizations. For a free consultation to discuss your team's needs, please contact us at our website at swg-unboxed.org. That's swg-unboxed.org.